Oh, we got the truck loaded up finally. Not that it took that long, but I've been packing for this for about a month. Got our coffee, little man's got his Gatorade. Of course, YouTube playing back there to keep him busy for a few hours. We've got about a 6-hour road trip to where we're going hunting at in Idaho, but I have to actually go another hour and 20 minutes past that to go to one of the Idaho Fish and Game departments so I can have my cat tag reissued. I ordered my license about a week and a half ago, and it still hasn't shown up, and the opener's tomorrow. So I have to drive to one of their departments. They cancel out the tag that I already bought and reissue me a new one. So it's going to be a long day, but weather's supposed to be nice, and on I-80, I'll take that over a short road trip with bad roads, so could be worse. But this will be little man's first hunt outside of hunting bears with me. He's getting a little older now, so I can start taking him on a little more long haul hunting trips. Still can't really do backpack, deer and elk hunts yet. He's turned 7 in January, so he's still got a little bit of growing to do before we can really pack him into some harsh country. But this cat hunt shouldn't be too bad. The snow up there hasn't snowed a whole lot, which doesn't help us on the cat end of things, but these dogs the guides can hunt on dry or wet ground, so that helps us, and it should be a little easier for little man to walk around up there. But we'll take some video and hopefully we can get into some cats. With an estimate 2,000 mountain lions in Idaho, a male will kill a deer every 9 to 12 days, eating 20 pounds at a time, while a female with kittens will kill every 4 days. So that's 48 deer a year per mountain lion, and that adds up to 96,000 deer based off 2,000 cats in a state. So with that, you could just see how it would decimate an entire deer herd. So the only way to manage that is through hound hunting. It's one of the most effective and constructive forms of wildlife management we have. It also allows for the age and sex of the animal to be determined way before there's an attempt at a harvest. The pursuit of animals with dogs is a time-honored tradition dating back to 1650. George Washington was not only our president, he was also the father of the American foxhound. Several of our presidents either owned or hunted behind hounds, including George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and the father of our American conservation, Theodore Roosevelt. Hound hunting remains deeply entrenched within our culture and is in many ways more of our nation's pastime than baseball. The ultimate goal of using hounds is not the harvest of wildlife, but the enjoyment gained in training, listening, and interacting with the dogs during the hunt. Can we grab one?
Yeah, you can grab
Where does she go? Let him go for a minute?
Leave that on for a second. She just go potty.
Just let her go then?
Yeah, you can let her go.
By the where his water bowl's at. There you go, right there's perfect. So after passing on a smaller 100-pound, 110-pound tom, the first day we cut this big tom's track up on top of this ridge. First thing, we decided to turn out a couple dogs on it. They thought it was the biggest track they'd seen all season, so we were all pretty excited about it and wanted to get dogs on it right away. And he dropped down to the bottom, crossed over the train tracks here, and we decided to rush down there in the vehicles to see if we could try to cut him off. If nothing else, let a couple more dogs out on it and help in the pursuit. But I always thought it was better to have more dogs on a track, but actually that's what you don't want. It ends up covering up the scent and the track and makes it harder for the dogs. We chased that cat for 10 hours, and he's went about 8 miles. And once he crossed over and went into national forest, lower elevation, that the snow is not near as deep over there, and it's melted off on a lot of those south-facing slopes. And so once those dogs would catch up to him, he'd cross over that dry ground and lose their track. And by the time we caught up to him to help him out and relocated the track, he was another mile ahead of him. So it was getting late. We decided to pull the dogs off and get them put away for the night, get them fed, and then make a game plan to go back and try to find that track in the morning.
Especially this time of year, when you're running them every day like this.
Yeah, Friday.
I know I used to go get like that beef suet,
Yeah.
and throw in with the dog food too. No.
Here it is. I'm being honest, I never thought in a million years we'd turn up that big Tom again after as long as he ran the day before. But we sure did. We cut his track the next morning, crossed him back over and headed north where he'd come down out of the day before. And it was funny, we were all sitting around the night before pretty upset that this big a Tom might have got away from us, because turning up the same Tom the next day is pretty rare. But Lavoie had turned to all of us and said, if you were hunting mule deer and only had a week to hunt, and you turned up a 220-inch deer, would your focus be on hunting that deer the rest of the week with the chance at maybe going home empty-handed and never seeing that deer again? And I knew exactly what he was getting at. You know, he was referring it to this big Tom. So we all knew what the goal was, and it was all of us coming together and trying to find that track again. And
so we're gonna walk it out, and your boy's gonna go with Lavoie.
okay.
And they're gonna go around. They may pick us up there, but we're gonna walk it out. We're gonna grab Barbie and walk it out.
Okay.
Alexis.
So this is day 3. Yesterday we found the tracks of that big Tom way up there on the top, and he ran all the way down. Hold on. He ran all the way down to the bottom, and those quakies in the bottom. He went south half mile, crossed over the flat up into the national forest, and we tracked him for 10 hours. And then he come back and got into an area that we couldn't get in. It was starting to get dark. So we pulled the dogs off, and Lavoie and the dogs walked back down all the way to the road. We couldn't get over to him in the vehicle, and where he came out, where he was going to come out, there was no access to get in there. So this morning we got up, and we're going to just come drive around this whole mountain base to see if we could see his tracks, get lucky. And Lavoie down here in the bottom found his tracks again, crossing, coming back north. So the dogs took off with him. They tracked him all the way up into here over this knob and lost him here in the bottom where the sun melts off on this north facing slope. And so Chad and the dogs walked down through the bottom.
Lost him up on the dry ground. Come back and let's go find him. Let's go find his track in the snow. Let's go find him.
He said it's the biggest track they've seen all season, so we're doing the best we can to find him. But unless he just knows where to go, or there's enough dry land that confuses the dogs enough for a little bit that he can gain ground on them. So I just got up to the summit here, and there's actually some snow on the ground where I can try to cut a track, fresh track where those dogs lost him. And Chad's back behind me up the drainage, cutting east to west. So, okay, so I hear some dogs barking back toward the east where Chad's got him at. So I wonder if they cut that track up on that ridge, headed east.
Get it.
So I'm making my way back through all this thick shit.
Jesus.
Are the other two chasing another cat?
No.
They're,
It's right there.
they're all down there? cat. Go forward a little more so your ass end straightens out. There you go. So from where we relocated that track this morning, let those dogs out. They've chased that cat.
Don't do that.
Almost 6 miles.
Where's he going?
And then they lost him again up on the summit where the snow's melted off those south-facing slopes. So we went up there, walked it out. Chad was able to relocate it, and we got the dogs back on it. We came back down off the face down to the bottom again. We got to the pickup, and we're trying to make up as much distance we can in a vehicle because we're still about 4 miles behind the dogs. They're showing treed, but we're not sure. We're so far away, we're not sure if it's actually giving us the correct readings. So we're trying to make up as much distance we can and pick up, but it's not looking like we're going to get up this canyon. So we're going to have to back out, go meet up with Lavoy and the rest of the crew and round up some snow machines and head in on sled, and then have to walk the rest of the way.
Hang on, Corey.
Be careful going over logs. 3/4 mile. Put him in a tree.
Let's go see what we got.
Yeah, get your bow ready. They say it's heaven at 10K. Weapon of choice. Huh? You ready, buddy? Here we go. It's a damn good cat. Barely, yep, just barely.
As a father, it's important for me to be able to get my son in the outdoors, exposing him to real-life situations that only being in the mountains could provide. More than a hunt, it's about learning hard work, overcoming adversity, and making lasting memories together. Most adults, let alone kids, will ever see a mountain lion in the wild, let alone ever get the opportunity to put their hands on one. My entire goal of this hunt was to make sure my son knew the value in that.